10 Heartbreaking Facts About the Ruby Franke Case. Welcome back to Creepshow, your go-to channel for the most chilling true crime stories and darkest mysteries. In today's episode, we're diving into a case that reveals the horrifying truth behind a seemingly perfect internet persona. The Ruby Franke case is a stark reminder that not everything online is as it seems. Despite being portrayed as the ideal mother, the reality behind closed doors was anything but that. Join us as we uncover 10 heartbreaking facts about this case, shedding light on the harrowing abuse and manipulation within the Franke family. Stay tuned as we unravel this disturbing story. One example that demonstrates that nothing on the internet is as it appears is the Ruby Franke case. Despite the fact that Franke was portrayed in the media as the perfect mother for an excessive amount of time, she was anything but that behind closed doors. You are taken aback at every step by this actual story, which features a family that is falling apart and a therapist who is deliberately manipulating religious ideas. In the documentary Ruby Franke, a momfluencer's double life, which is available on Hulu, you may explore the entire narrative in its entirety. Here, we will discuss a few of the most important aspects of the case. The intensity of the abuse itself, as well as her delusion regarding the gravity of the issue, are only 2 of the 10 truths that will genuinely break your heart. Number 10. 911 caller began to cry on the phone when requesting help. A sequence of occurrences took place on the 30th of August, 2023, at approximately 10:46 in the morning, and they would shake a neighborhood in Utah to its very foundations. It all started with a knock at the door of a property that was located close. There was a small boy who could only be named as R, and he was standing there with his feet exposed against the earth. By pleading with the local to take him to the police station, the young child was making an effort to get assistance from the community. As soon as the neighbor became concerned for the child's well-being, she immediately contacted 911 and relayed a frightening account of the child's condition. "He exhibits signs of malnutrition," the neighbor recalled. "A piece of tape is wrapped around his legs. He is thirsty and hungry at the same time." It became clear that the youngster was going through a great deal of anguish as the conversation progressed and emotions began to surface. "The duct tape is wrapped around each of his ankles. This youngster has obviously been jailed, and he is obviously covered in wounds. I believe there is a fair likelihood that he has been captured. He is in need of help." During those terrible minutes, a community was presented with the harsh reality of a youngster who was in need of assistance, and his screams for assistance were heard across the fabric of society through his silence. The discovery of duct tape, wounds, and malnutrition provided a bleak image, suggesting that there is a story of neglect and suffering that has not yet been completely unraveled. Number 9. The young boy and girl were bound and starving. The youngster provided Officer Petitioned with a harrowing narrative of being shackled by his mother and another someone named Jodi after the original contact with Officer Petitioned. According to what he shared with Petitioned, his mother and Jodi bound his arms and feet to weights on the ground that restricted his movement's range of motion. Petitioned appeared to be profoundly impacted by the information that was disclosed, and he temporarily disembarked from the ambulance in order to contemplate the seriousness of the circumstance. Almost immediately after that, at 11:52 in the morning, a second youngster, who will be referred to as E, was found alone in a closet that was empty. The job of reassuring her was taken on by Sergeant Tobler, who remained in the closet with her for more than 4 hours, attempting to make her feel at ease enough to receive assistance. E had been starving when she was offered food. A shake, a half of a big pizza, and an entire personal pizza were all consumed by her. The severity of the children's conditions and the quick action that is required to address their well-being were brought to light by these activities, which highlighted the urgent need for care and sustenance for both of the youngsters. Number 8. Kevin Franke did not know what was happening to his family. Kevin Franke, a significant but absent player in the evolving story of the Ruby Franke case, throws light on the intricate relationships that are taking place within the household. Kevin found himself in a situation where he was forced to leave the family home under circumstances that were tainted by pressure and manipulation. Jodi Hildebrandt was the one who manipulated Kevin. In point of fact, Kevin had not seen his children for more than a year previous to the original response received by the police in response to R's request for assistance. This protracted absence highlights the extent to which the children are estranged from one another and isolated from the majority of the world. Kevin filed for divorce with Ruby Franke on November 29, 2023, as part of his efforts to retrieve his children. This step was taken in the name of legal action. Within the context of his efforts to obtain custody of his children, this legal maneuver constitutes a crucial step. Number 7. Ruby Franke asks, "Are we in the news?" Ruby Franke's encounters, which take place within the walls of the Purgatory Correctional Institution, provide a glimpse into her state of mind in the midst of the developing events. During a chat with her husband Kevin, she inquired, "Are we in the news?" as if she were completely unaware of the gravity of the situation. When Ruby was informed that her children would be staying in the hospital for a lengthy period of time for medical treatment, her answer struck another discordant note. Weird as hell. "They are attempting to exaggerate this," she says in a dismissive manner, so downplaying the fact that their condition is quite serious. Ruby also claimed, "I do feel strong, despite everything that was happening while the matter was being investigated. I do experience a sense of tranquility. The fact that children can be full of evil and the measures that are necessary to combat it is something that adults have a very difficult time comprehending. It is abundantly clear that her understanding of reality is extremely warped." Number 6. Marriage counselor Jodi Hildebrandt was previously reported to the state. Jodi was a respected and authoritative figure within their society due to her profession as a counselor who specialized in working with LDS couples. However, during the group sessions, Jodi's tactics strayed into public shaming of her patients, which was a traumatic turn of events that occurred during the treatment she was providing. The participants were left vulnerable and exposed as a result of this breach of professional conduct, which made their emotional loads worse rather than easing them. In light of the fact that Jodi's unethical activity was brought to light, such activities were not privileged from examination. The state of Utah took disciplinary action against her as a result of her conduct, which included the improper sharing of personal client information with institutions such as BYU and the LDS Church. Jodi's license to practice as a therapist was revoked for a term of 18 months as a result of her violation of professional standards and breach of trust. In the lives of Kevin and Ruby Franke, Jodi Hildebrandt was supposed to play the position of a licensed therapist, yet, with the course of events, her role morphed into something quite different. Number 5. The young children were tortured. Within the limits of their house in Ivins, Utah, young boy R and his sister E were subjected to unfathomable difficulties, which were brought to light by the testimony that were offered by Detective Bate. It was alleged by Bate that he was deprived of both food and drink. "I was compelled to carry boxes up the stairs for the entire day. Due to the severe heat, Ruby made the youngsters carry out the task of weeding the cemetery grounds without shoes, causing their feet to become blistered and rough. In order to have a chance at survival, E resorted to stealing water because she was so hungry. As a result of her severe malnutrition, her clothing was so slack that it hung carelessly over her malformed frame. During this time, R's daily routine consisted of jumping on a trampoline for 8 to 10 hours every single day. The police discovered that the trampoline had significant sweat stains on it. The children's bones protruded through their skin, which served as a visceral reminder of the extent to which they had been neglected and mistreated. The physical toll of their abuse emerged in disturbing ways as the youngsters exposed their bones. Number 4. Jodi Hildebrandt had previous reports of severe abuse, and it should come as no surprise that this was not Jodi Hildebrandt's first encounter with the abuse of children. According to the reports, she abused Jessie Hildebrandt in 2009 in a manner that was comparable to how she abused Franke's children E and R. According to Jessie, she had to cut her hair off. In addition, I was not permitted to wear the clothes that I had on or to wear makeup. It was necessary for me to get down on my knees and beg for pardon. Despite the fact that Jodi was persuaded that Jessie had abortions, she did not permit her to use tampons. Jessie was a sex addict according to Jodi's thinking. The statement that Jessie made was as follows: "At that point in my life, I did not even know what that meant." She went on to explain that she had duct taped her and that she had forbidden her to communicate with anyone. Jessie was compelled to use the snowy outdoors as a place to sleep. After some time had passed, she went to the authorities and reported Jodi for being abusive. For a period of 1 year, Jessie was forced to reside with Jodi before she was finally able to flee. Number 3. Young boy. R ran away one time before for help. A courageous attempt was made by young child R to escape his tormentors before to his eventual discovery and rescue. Through the use of rocks, he was able to convey the following message: "Jail, I will call when I are there." Nevertheless, Ruby and Jodi were able to stop him, bring him back to his house, and further restrain him in order to prevent him from escaping in the future. In the midst of his harsh surroundings, this fleeting flash of rebellion illustrates R's desperate call for escape. Number 2. Ruby Franke's online followers petitioned for CPS to get involved. Concerned viewers of the YouTube channel 8 Passengers came together in support of a petition that urged Child Protection Services to conduct an investigation into the Franke family. This event turned the digital environment into a battleground for advocacy and accountability. The controversy that ensued was sparked by a video that was uploaded to the internet, in which the parents described how they had their son sleep on a beanbag. Unsettling issues were raised concerning the parenting styles of the Franke family as a result of the harsh reality that existed within their home. An online petition on change.org received an incredible 18,000 signatures, demonstrating the extent of public outrage and the critical severity of the issue. This was a demonstration of communal concern. Number 1. Ruby Franke's journal testifies to torture. A record of the summer that the family spent living under Jodi's control was kept in Ruby's personal notebook. The text reads, "I told R that he is a snake-like shape. It is he who slithers and moves stealthily. The only way for him to be able to imitate the Savior is for him to be completely obedient. He refuses to work," she said about her small kid in her document, "has shaved off their hair." Jodi Hildebrandt's treatment of her children was marked by a troubling pattern of dehumanization, according to investigators who were involved in the investigation about the case. Her notion that they were demons and that they were required to suffer harsh acts of punishment that were necessary for their salvation was implanted in them by her beliefs. Jodi's acts were justified by the assertion that they were sanctioned and approved by God, which is a disturbing evidence to the depths of her delusions. It was through a variety of tales and testimony that Jodi's involvement in the abuse was brought to light. The cycle of anguish and control was maintained by her active participation in the arrangement. Thank you for watching this episode of Creepshow. The Ruby Franke case is a tragic reminder of the hidden darkness that can exist behind closed doors. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into true crime and eerie mysteries. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Share your thoughts in the comments below and let us know if there are other cases you'd like us to cover. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious.